Well, welcome here on a Friday to Expanding Your Reach. And Christy and I, oh, wait a second.
Is Christy here?
Christy's not here.
She's not. Oh no. Is she under the table?
Not on this side.
See, I have kids, so we.
Sitting in for
be?
Christy today
Hey.
is Breezy Rich.
The Breezy Rich.
Breezy is rich.
Breezy is rich.
So.
I do legal shields, so I'm changing my middle name to Is. So
and
Breezy is.
A little something. We got a great guest today. Is that? I hear a phone.
I don't think it's
we're not going to crash and burn, but we're going to have some interesting things going on here today. so anyways, our guest today is Dr. Dan Fleischman. And how long have we known each other, Dr. Dan?
Oh my gosh, I think a good couple of years at least.
Wow. You hit the camera there, really?
I did not. My butt's not that big.
Okay. Well, Dr. Dan and I basically are from Allen, and he's here. He's going to be talking about the Ezekiel Center teachings.
Yep.
And it's very, very interesting, very informative, and motivational.
Can we say captivating?
I
Let's
don't
say
know.
captivating.
When you use
Let's
the word
see.
captivating, I'm wondering. I'm not so sure.
I want to know.
But
Captivating.
but before we get into about the Ezekiel Center, we really want to know a little bit about you.
The good stuff, not the boring stuff.
Yeah, you got some
Oh,
good
the
stuff.
good stuff.
Yeah,
The juicy stuff.
So, in other words, like, are you from Texas?
That's where you're going to start. You should say, were you popular in high school?
Well, we want to find out what we want to find out what school first. I mean, maybe he's from Alaska.
Let's find out.
I am not, but I am from Los Angeles,
South of Alaska.
very south.
So Los Angeles. Now, I remember on your wall, you had all the movie stars and different people that you've met on the wall in your office.
Yes.
So is that from when you were staying in Los Angeles?
Well, it's been over the years, so it's not just from my time in Los Angeles, but it's also through my whole life. I mean, I've known a lot of those people that you see on the wall from the time I was little to the time, obviously I'm now, and some were first-time meetings, some I've known for 30 years or more, so varying degrees of familiarity with different of the different celebrities.
So now, go ahead.
He has a privilege card. Did you hear what he said? He'd known the celebrities since he was a baby, and then he grew up with it. So he's got a privilege card. So did your parents, were they doctors and stuff? Is that how you got to know them?
No, actually, my father, he did color separations for a lot of the major magazines. So Rona Barrett, Tiger Beat, the martial art magazines, so he was invited to a lot of the celebrity events. He knew people who knew the celebrities, and of course I was around that circle. And then later on, excuse me, he opened up a business, a safety deposit box, P.O. box.
Yeah.
And he had the who's who of Hollywood coming in.
He's a
A gangster. They ran the union for the actors and the actresses.
Funny true story. Drew Barrymore used to play secretary at my dad's office.
Really?
So she used to pretend like she was answering the phones, and this was during the ET days. So
wow.
He had celebrities, everybody from Elizabeth Taylor, like we were talking about earlier before the show began, to David Lee Roth, Michael J. Fox, Christine Bateman. I mean, the list of names just went on and on.
So now, how old were you during this time frame when he was?
During that time period, I was about junior high school.
Oh, okay. So okay.
He was so using that to get.
Yeah, I was going to say. So there had to be some wild parties you got invited to back then. Well, or just some, maybe not wild, but some interesting. Let me say interesting.
He was the door person. He's like a cute little kid, and they would just tip him as he's walking into the door. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Farrah Fawcett's having a party over on the beach. You want to come?
Of course.
Well, there you go. I can't say no to that.
So you were popular in high school then, right?
Well, of course.
Let's see.
Well, plus I grew up in L.A., so I mean, you run into celebrities all the time. My dad's office was in Studio City, so of course that was a particular hub for a lot of the celebrities to hang around that area.
Yeah, around here in Dallas, the celebrity is like Roger Staubach. Now, don't get me wrong. Roger Staubach's the guy, but he doesn't have that Walk of Fame, star kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But in the sports world, he's a god.
Well, you are who you hang out with, right? So he was used to dealing with celebrities in LA, and now he's dealing with me, and you're around, so that's
Yeah,
good.
I just happen to be tagging along here. It's all about Breezy, okay.
Now you talk about my
We're going to change the name of this show to Breezy.
So in talking about my high school, fun fact, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, among many other shows, were filmed there.
Really?
Oh.
Now,
Encino Man.
so what do they call that when people are in the background?
Extras.
So
Yes.
were you an extra?
I almost was. I signed up to be an extra, and I didn't get called. Finally, I moved to Texas to go to school.
It's your high school. You can be an extra whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
So
Just like, I'm on my way to my locker. Joe, you can't stop me.
Exactly. So 6 months later, after
Yeah.
I moved to Dallas area, I finally start getting calls to be an extra.
Oh,
Of course,
cool.
I'm in Dallas at that point, so a lot of good that did me.
Did you, do you know the college that had Encino Man? Do you know where that was filmed?
I don't know.
Because there was a college, and then Encino Man was filmed at that particular one.
Was it next to the high school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that was Grant. So the
Yeah.
Los Angeles Valley College, I went there as well.
So my husband was there when they were doing Encino Man.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's so hot.
Your husband.
Yes.
Shout
Not
out.
Encino Man. Not Encino Man.
Okay, so besides hanging out and hobnobbing with all the celebrities,
Mm-hmm.
what else did you do for fun back growing up in California? Now, were you a surfer?
Quite the
I mean,
opposite.
It's funny
He's
how
a doctor.
That's
He's
like if
going
you
to
were
be
in California.
fixing the surfers.
and I grew up in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things, and I didn't. One of the first things people are going to ask you is, "Did you ride horses when you were a kid? Did you,
See, it's a family show.
Everybody
so
basically, you're welcome to butt in any time or butt out."
This is such a great show. This is a show about.
I'm not sure what it's about.
No, this is really, really good. Okay, so you were in LA. You moved to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you meet your wife in California, or did you meet her in Texas?
I met her in Texas.
Good. So she's Republican. You got a good foundation. I'm really excited.
And she's a Yankee to top
do you
it
know
off, so
that?
there you go. So that should make you happy.
Exactly.
Yeah, you missed our trade show. He was at our trade show. So was his wife.
Mm-hmm.
He was a presenter.
You were a presenter?
I was.
I would have went if I known that. I just thought that Rick was going to be there.
Yeah, I know. That's why you didn't come.
But check the
I
schedule
wasn't
next time.
feeling good. No, I'm really excited about meeting you because I really like the chiropractic field, and I like how it's all natural.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a really good experience with ours. We have a 6-year-old daughter, and she would go to elementary school. But she would cry every time I took her to school, and the principal would meet me at the door, and she would, take her, and then she would cry really bad, and then I'd leave, and then she would calm down. And we could not figure this out, and it went on for 6 months. We went to a chiropractor, took some x-rays, and it turned out the way that I had birthed her was not correct or something, I don't know. And anyway, he started snapping her, and after 3 snaps, or 3 appointments, whatever you want to say is the correct way of doing it, she turned into really sweet and really kind. And he said that something was just pinching her, something was pinching somewhere, and it made a huge difference. And the teacher saw a huge difference in her, so they started sending their kids to a chiropractor.
Good.
I mean, it made a huge impact. I mean, the
So-
teacher was really impressed.
So now the thing is, this is going to
You
get.
just want to touch me. I get it.
Yeah.
It's right.
And it's all on the camera too.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
So
We got
here's
proof
the
of
thing.
sexual harassment.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Dr. Dan is a chiropractor.
Yes, he is.
And I use him, and he's done a very, very good job with me. But that's
Oh.
not why we're here today.
We're not.
No.
Oh.
We're actually, yeah.
We don't want to highlight your, going to school for 4 years or anything.
4 years? Are you kidding me?
Is it 8?
No.
10?
Yeah, that's longer than 4
So,
years. Yeah.
so tell us about.
Because I have additional 3 years of chiropractic neurology on top of my.
Oh, he's smart. He's a smart chiropractor.
He's not that smart. He's on our show.
No. Christy's watching this at home, and she's like, "What did you do?"
No. So basically, here's the deal.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Center.
Yes.
To somebody, the layman out there, they're like, what is it?
Yeah, to all the breezes.
I mean, it's like it's a few things. One, what is it? Two, how did you get into it? And tell us how it can help others.
It's because he's smart. We already just established that.
The Ezekiel Center is a 501c3. We're a not-for-profit, so we're looking to do a community outreach, really help people who need assistance. Basically, what the Ezekiel Center does is we teach a proprietary method called the Ezekiel Method. And what the Ezekiel Method is, it helps people overcome traumas. And the traumas can be anything large or small. It can be something is, annoying, seemingly annoying, or it can be something that someone has had a major setback in life, or they've had some major thing happen that they're trying to overcome. And we all have these things in life that we see our lives becoming more than they are, and somewhere in life, somewhere in the back of our mind, someone has said something to us, someone has done something to us, or we perceive that they've said or done something, or we've lived our life in such a way where we feel that it's a detriment to our outcome and what we wish to achieve in life. So the Ezekiel Method is designed to help people not get over something, but to transcend the issues. So we teach people a step-by-step methodology to basically start finding the ways that the seemingly traumatic events in their life have actually served them, and in serving them, we help create a different reality for them through a meditative process of visualization.
Can you say, I mean, obviously don't discuss a client or a patient.
You can discuss me.
But can you give us an example of, like say, take a example of how a traumatic experience of this type of experience.
Absolutely.
And walk us through the process there.
Okay, so there are a couple of people that I can talk about right off the bat. One of them actually is a celebrity. I won't name his name, but he was homeless. And after him getting into a halfway house and getting kind of back on his feet, he wasn't living on his own. So he started doing the classes, and he went from pretty much homeless in a halfway house to now he's self-sufficient, he's earning a living, he's doing a whole lot better. So he's moved his life in a direction that he's wanting to go. He's getting back into the showbiz industry. He's making contacts, so he's starting to accomplish the outcomes that he was looking for.
Let me ask you something. For example, could Robin Williams have used your help?
That's an interesting question, and there's two components going on with there. There was a chemical imbalance that was going on with Robin Williams. But there's also the reason behind his depression that was probably very deep-seated.
Right.
People have expectations of what you're supposed to be like at all times.
Well, like Robin Williams, yeah.
Yeah, like
Or
Robin
like
Williams.
even yourself.
Yes, exactly. So,
the comedian.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I mean, in all seriousness, when people, they know that you're in comedy, they know that you're always funny, and you're always an uplifter and motivational speaker, and your job is to make people feel great, right? And if you're not feeling great, you can't really, like the other day on Facebook, I put on there that I'm not feeling, give me some motivation, I'm not feeling myself lately, I just need a pick-me-up. And then I had people thinking, are you going to commit suicide? Are you, they just went over the other side. But the expectations of people is like way different, right? So even though you're really successful, let's say that you name, like, I had an experience once where there's somebody in my family, and I really, the family person is a complete loser, is no good, right? But you still want their attention, you still want their approval. So I had said, I accomplished this. And it's really big things that an average person would not do. And their response was, you fail at everything.
Well, see,
that response,
yeah, you bring up a good point.
It stays,
right?
And you can't get rid of it, because even though this person doesn't matter, even though their opinion, you've already accomplished the goal, like you're at the very top, but one person's negativity stays with you.
That's right.
And then you doubt yourself. So you have the ability of undoubting that
exactly.
person. Wonderful.
Right. So do you know why that happened? Why you went into a depression when they disapproved of what you were doing, or they gave you the negative feedback?
Because I honor their approval.
Well, here's the thing. You in a sense, you put them above you.
Oh, I know.
You
one person. one person.
Okay.
And
Well,
it's,
he was
it's
up
really
there
only
with,
one
He
person.
was up there with me.
Oh, it was? I can see that.
See, whenever you elevate somebody to a higher status than yourself, you're automatically setting it up for failure because they can't live up to those expectations. The only one that should be above you is creator. See, we're all on the same level. We're all on the same playing field. I don't care who you are. You know, we were talking about some very wealthy individuals before we started the radio show. Well, we're equals. We're all equals. I don't care
True.
what the financial status is. By the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
we're all going to go home to creator.
Right.
I don't care who you are,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And we're not going to take any of our earthly belongings with us.
Right.
Okay.
We all have skeletons in the closet.
We do, and it's whether those skeletons are going to hold you back or you're going to use them to help propel you forward.
Right. Like
I'm so
Lori
glad that
Lofton
you-
or whatever her name is.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you actually said that because as soon as I realized that, I went to Dr. Rebecca Gracia. She's the one that's on my show, my co-host. And I was telling her about this situation. And the Lord had dealt with me on it. And he's like, you know, you put this person above me without even realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're so true because as soon as it came to a reality, like, wait a second,
Mm-hmm.
you know, nobody's above anybody.
Correct.
And then that's where my confidence comes in, Rick. And I can stand up in, you know, a networking group and say, my name is
Confidence,
Breezy
okay.
Rich and I'm better than everyone else.
Yeah, and everybody turns around. So, you think so, huh?
I
So,
know,
so getting back into your
it's really cool that you
process
can do
and
this,
procedure,
though.
you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, that's an example.
Mm-hmm.
How do you basically turn it into results?
Yeah, how long does it take?
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean,
for
it's-
people
I'm
to
sure it's
start to
gonna vary.
believe in themselves again.
It can happen relatively quickly. It can happen as quickly as one session. So I do classes, but I also do private one-on-one sessions for people that maybe don't want to be in a class and they need more concentrated, focused attention. You know, it also depends, just like with anything else in life, how willing are you to play out?
Participate.
Yeah.
To really get
because
deep.
It can get very deep. Now, here's the beautiful thing about the process. I don't have to know anything about what's going on with you. I guide you through the internal process, and I have a way to know whether you've hit milestones that I'm looking for in order to help you go to the next level.
That's so cool. I'm
So
really
how many
excited
levels
about
are there?
this.
Well, there's several different steps, so we'll take people through what we call the mental weeds. Now, the mental weeds are the story that you've created for your life. They're the things that you see in your everyday world that you don't like, either about yourself or others, or even the minor annoyances like we talked about, like getting angry in traffic or something like that, or if you're upset with a family member or friend, or you think you've been victimized, or you've had some significant thing happen. So these are the things that we build up as our story. Okay, and I call them a story because they're really not based in reality. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute, it did happen to me. Yes, it did happen, but the next thing we talk about are the mental seeds, and the seeds are the emotional component to the weeds. So, for example, you have to have an emotional component in order to drive your story, because if there's no emotional component, your story falls flat.
Right.
It goes away.
And
Right.
let me just
Yeah, he's right.
here's an example. I mean, basically, a life has multiple stories,
Absolutely.
and a life is a book.
Yes.
And so the story can be chapters.
Yes.
So you may be going through a horror story,
Mm-hmm.
but when that story ends, there's a new chapter in your life.
Well, you think it's a horror story.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well,
that-
I understand.
I'm just saying. There's certain people that my life is horrible. I was abused. I was raped.
Right,
I
right.
Was, I had no money. I was living on the
Mhm.
street. I was whatever the horror in their mind or whatever it is. But the point is, that's just a chapter in your life.
Well, but it's more than a chapter. I mean, sometimes it's the whole book for some people.
Yes.
They
But that's
wrap
how
their
you-
identity around it.
And how do you get them to let go of that or deal with it?
Well, we want them to transcend it. Is what
Explain
we
transcend. What do you mean by?
They would have to accept it.
Yeah, because look, anything that you don't like in your life is an aspect of you that you've disconnected from and you've fragmented from. It's an aspect of yourself that you've rejected. So it's going to keep showing up in your world until you learn to basically love it, and through finding gratitude and loving it, you transcend it. Now, finding gratitude and loving something sounds easy enough, and I'm sure your listening audience will go, well, shoot, I can do that. Well, really? I mean, it's lip service. Let's see you try, because if you are in your situation for all these years and you're holding on to resentment and anger and frustration. See, I hear all the time people throwing around the phrase, I forgive you, or it's time to forgive, or it's one thing to actually forgive somebody in your heart of hearts, and then it's quite another to stuff and bury something where then it has an opportunity to later resurface as a dis-ease process or some kind of an issue that's going on in your life that's going to manifest to the point where you now need to address it.
Now, is this spiritual based?
It is. It's based off of the book of Ezekiel from the prophet Ezekiel.
Well, thank the Lord, because if you can take somebody that's in an abusive relationship and they can't see that they're in that problem where it keeps on repeating and repeating, and the person...
We help break the pattern.
Yeah, which is amazing. So I don't know your particular program, but I want to learn so much about it, because with what we do, the other doctor that I work with, she's able to go in and she can map it on your brain where it's actually affecting you, and then she can do results like you, and then they can go back on the mapping, the scan, and see that they have released it. Because people, they keep it, and they don't want to... Some people don't get rid of their anger because they feel like it defines them, and, I'm so strong, but really, you just look like everyone knows you're weak.
Right.
But you're acting like you're not. But you can bring it into a reality and be like,
That's
can get rid of this.
You can brain
You're
map
reality.
it all, exactly. You can brain map it
Really
all
good
day.
stuff.
But I want people to see real life results. I want people to have something tangible that they walk away with, and they know what they've changed on the inside, and as a result, look, when you change your vibration, your world changes.
Exactly. Because when you start believing in yourself and you tell yourself that you're good and not bad, and you just start a little bit each day, you get to the point where you're like me, wonderful. But the thing is, if you start at the bottom, when they come to you, they have to be accepting of what you have to offer right away, because you're going to get people that are bringing in their husbands and their brothers and their sisters, and I'm sure you deal with a lot of people with PTSD, right? Because that right there there's a lot of families, like my husband has PTSD. It's really, really bad, and you have to be on guard all the time, and just one little thing can trigger him off. But he's not at the point where he wants to get help yet. But see, I'm at the point where, you better get help, or, one of us is going to have to leave. So, no, I'm just kidding. But the thing is that it's really, really hard. Until they accept it, they can't get the help. But the good part is that he can help the spouses or the family members be able to not be so consumed with their anger and how they're going to affect somebody.
Well,
it's really cool.
Here's an interesting thing about anger. Most people label the negative emotions, anger, sorrow, grief, as a bad thing. See, there are no good or bad emotional states. The only thing that makes them good or bad is the length of time that you stay in them and how you use them. See, you could have happiness and joy as being a negative state if you stay in it too long. See, eventually the pendulum has to swing. Now, if you're stuck in a state, say, of frustration, maybe you need a temporary boost of anger in a healthy way to get your butt moving.
I like this guy. This is really good stuff. This is really good. I'm really excited about this. This is a great show for me. I'm really, really excited about it. Because I really want...
Does that chair fit?
Yeah, I really want... Well, I deal with a lot of people now, a lot of clients from Dr. Gracia, and they have a lot of issues where they've been abused, they've been raped, their spouse, and everything. But even the people who are somewhat normal, they get one negative review on their food, and they cannot get past... They can't deal with it. Like on Yelp, let's say that you owned a restaurant. So are you able to take the chef and be like, okay, do you just give him a different perspective? And
It's all about shifting perspective.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
See, that's perfect.
So
I
now,
like this guy. Change my perspective. Make me like Rick.
Well, it's reintegrating the lost and fragmented aspects of yourself so you become a whole person again. Yes. See, you want to love all your pieces, because any one of your pieces that you don't love is going to keep showing up in your world until you do love it.
Exactly.
So, this isn't bipolar or or split personalities. This is just dealing with you have different characteristics of your personality.
It's like taking the bad and making it good. It is. Say it. Say it. You could do it. I feel like we can have a breakthrough.
Yeah. We're getting ready to have a breakthrough pretty soon. It's called cutting your mic off.
No, keep going.
But here's the thing. We talked. She mentioned about PTS.
Yes.
And you mentioned a few others. What about drug-related?
Well, why do you think people use drugs?
Well, my point is, if
No,
somebody.
I'm saying they use it to alter their states, right? So there's got to be a reason. Why are they trying to alter their state?
Okay, so they've altered their state because
They're not happy.
There's an
they're not happy
underlying
or whatever.
issue, right?
So my point is, here's the underlying question.
Okay.
If somebody has drug issues, is that somebody that is a good potential client for you?
Absolutely. But again, they have to be willing to do the work.
But okay,
Yep.
a follow-up question on that is, do you also work with a drug counselor as part of your program? So
I can.
Because that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If somebody had drug issues, whether it's cocaine, meth, heroin, whatever, and you're not a certified drug counselor, right?
No, I'm not.
Right. But it would be ideal if you had that connection, because now all of a sudden you have a drug counselor that's going to basically do this, and then you'd be able to talk to them about the therapy.
I disagree. I think that you're well qualified to deal with it, because when you're dealing with their actual personal problems and you're able to go down to the root of it, like you're talking about the weeds and you bring it up, you don't need somebody else there to help you, because they're going to tell you as you're pulling up the weeds what it is that they're dealing with, and you're going to be able to like pinpoint it and then make it bloom.
Yep.
Boom.
She's got it.
Yeah, I'm awesome. I got it because I need it. I mean, seriously, this guy, he can change a person's life. I mean, what you're in is way above a chiropractic, because chiropractic gives you that temporary, that feeling until, you screw up your back again. But you're actually dealing with the inside, and you're able to just make people blossom and believe in themselves again. I mean, that's just like real life. I mean, it's just like you're creating something. You see something that's broken, and you're like, hey, wait. If we can just, do this, I can just fix this one little crack that's got water coming out of the vase, and boom, new person.
Well, and the thing about, I don't want to switch off of Ezekiel Center, but the thing about chiropractic care,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's sometimes not fixing the solution. It's initially, you got to get the person to change whatever they're doing.
You do. And
So-
that's a big challenge that I've run into in practice, is because a lot of people keep doing the same thing that got them injured before.
Right. And then they come back in, they get readjusted, and it's like a month later, it's like, hey, doc, it's like, well, but I told you, you got to do this and whatever. And they didn't do it, so they're back in for readjustment 30,
Right.
60, 90 days later.
So you're referring to their food and what they're
Well,
eating
it
and
could be
stuff like
anything.
that?
I'm not going to sit there and go into what those procedures would be, what you would, because it could be different for different patients.
Right, and people are motivated to do things
some it
in
could
their
be,
life.
lose a little something.
Oh, yeah, I don't know nothing about that.
And-
I'm gaining.
Well, and the reason why people do things is it's all based upon emotion. You don't do a single thing in your life that's not emotionally based.
That's right.
Every decision you made is based on, whether you feel positively or something or negatively about something.
Yeah, I was pretty positive about inviting Breezy to be on the show.
I think we're doing great. Are we?
We
doing
are. We're
great?
doing fantastic, yeah.
I totally get what he's doing. I'm like a huge fan now. I'm really excited. The celebrities thing, that's pretty nice, but actually changing.
There's another little aspect here. If we get away from the Ezekiel just a second.
Yeah, let's do that. Where do you want to go?
Uh,
This is Reading Rainbow.
how, all of your characters, because you've gone to, I don't want to, it's like Comic-Con, but Star Trek.
You do Star Trek? Are you an actor?
No.
Where
No,
are you
but
going?
you've gone to the.
I'm trying to figure out where he's going with
Okay.
this.
No, but you dressed up as different superheroes.
For Halloween and stuff?
No,
Because I don't dress up at the cons.
oh,
Does his wife know?
no, never mind.
Maybe we're exposing something.
No, I thought that you were into.
You're talking about role playing?
Oh.
Next. No, I thought that part of when you met some of these people, they were at the.
At the cons?
Yes.
Yeah, some, but those were like the one-time meetings that I...
Right.
But, it's kind of funny because even someone like Gil Gerard, I've met him at the cons, but I've known him since high school, on and off throughout the years.
So do you consider yourself a healer? Like when people ask
Absolutely.
you what you do, you just say I'm a healer?
Yeah.
Because that's really the category I would put you in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. High five.
Long five.
Well, and that's only part of it. I mean, the healing is a big part, but I do the healing through obviously the chiropractic, but through the Ezekiel method. I've written a book that's coming out soon called Teachings from a Prophet, so that should be released hopefully by early summer.
Thank the Lord.
Really?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so that's got the Ezekiel method throughout the book. So it's kind of.
How'd you get into this?
The Ezekiel method, and the Ezekiel Center.
Both chiropractic and the Ezekiel method.
Healing people. How did you get into healing people?
Well, I've always had a desire to help people, and chiropractic took me so far. In being a single doc in a single office, I can only help so many people at a time. I've been doing the Ezekiel work now for about a decade, and to be able to get in front of a group of people, to get in front of an audience, to have multiple people in front of me, I can spread the healing a lot quicker, a lot faster, and have it more expansive.
What do you feel is your biggest accomplishment so far in your career?
Well, which one?
All of them.
All of them.
You put them all together. What is your biggest accomplishment?
Changing people's lives.
Boom. See, that's a real man right there. Just saying. I would have said on a wall or something, but no, he went right to the healing of people. That's awesome. Do you see yourself doing this forever, even after retirement?
I do, because I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the light bulb come on. I enjoy, taking people from a place of sorrow or despair, or a place that they're not happy in life, to a place of joy, and to where they really love the aspects of their lives. In fact, we take people to a journey where they begin to love the things in their life that they didn't think were possible. We all have those things in our lives where at the time we think were horrible, and then we look back on them 5, 10, 15 years and go, wow, that was the most amazing thing that ever happened to me. Well, I don't want to wait 5, 10, 15, 20 years or even a lifetime. We want to make the change as soon as possible so people can have that breakthrough and they can basically transcend those issues and accelerate their lives into the areas that they want to go.
Now, you mentioned that you're in groups and things like that, and that you're a motivational, you're a speaker in front of things. How can we see some of your work? Do you have testimonials on the website or anything?
Yes.
I mean, how can we send people to you?
EzekielCenter.org, so that's EZEKIEL Center.org. There you'll see videos. There's also a link to our YouTube page. There's a class schedule on there. In fact, for anybody listening who would like to attend, we're doing a free introductory workshop this Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Oh,
so you can go to our website at EzekielCenter.org to check that out and also to register. Seating's limited, so I really encourage you, if you would like to join, to go ahead and get registered as quickly as possible.
So basically what we need to do, though, is, again, you're part of our groups. And,
good choice, by the way.
And part of getting your word out there, getting your message out there, is for you to get the message to me. So that if there's a testimonial you share with me, I share it to the world.
Okay, great. I've got lots of them on the website.
So
fortunately, I'm blessed to have that.
If there's a upcoming event for you, you share it with me. I put it out through Allen Historic Downtown Businesses.
Okay, perfect.
So, and that goes back down to what we were talking about earlier today: cross-marketing, joint marketing, and different platforms. This here is one of your platforms that we're using for you.
Fantastic.
So you are now on the podcast live. But live is now, okay? But this is going to be recorded. And just like you were asking, will I get a copy of this? And it's like, okay, yeah, it'll be on Facebook. You'll be able to share this to your following. You'll be able to click a link into an email and send it to whoever. So it comes down to be able to use the tools at your disposal. Too many people that, I'm sitting here right with Breezy, and basically, she's asking how to help and how can people. There's another way people can get in touch with you, right? Through the directory of Allen Historic.
Absolutely.
So,
nice.
These are the kind of things. There's all these different avenues that lead to Ezekiel Center and Life Force Chiropractic. So, but it just still comes down to be able to use them.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I wanted to interject there. So we want to be able to help you. So besides that, you mentioned about the website. What is the website?
EzekielCenter.org. EZEKIEL healthcenter.org.
Okay, is there a phone number that you want to put out there or no?
It's on the website.
Okay.
Good call. I did that one time. I had lots of calls.
Yeah, it's just that in this day and age, you gotta be
careful.
You gotta be able to use all the platforms at your disposal. And like I said, you're in the heart of downtown Allen, and people, you don't want to say
It's
that.
a beautiful city.
Yeah, but when you tell people there's downtown Allen, you know what they say?
Money.
Allen has a downtown.
I go there for Cabela's.
You know.
It's my favorite place.
And so, but that's not downtown. That's that's my point. The downtown.
It's Fairview.
The point is, Allen Historic Downtown Businesses is the older section of Allen.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
You got to come visit.
I will. I definitely will. I did want to ask you one other thing, though. Out of your actual brick and mortar place that you had, what is the number one testimony that you're just like, wow, I can't believe this is, the Lord worked this out? Is there a testimony that you have?
Through the chiropractic or through
anything? I mean, what really sticks out the most that, a patient came in and they were in turmoil and then now they're all better? Do you have any of the testimonies that you can...
Yeah, I've got lots of those.
We'll just say one of them at least.
One of them was a baby who had failure to thrive syndrome. So she was about 6 months old. She wasn't sitting up. She wasn't rolling over. She wasn't doing all the normal things. She'd been to all the medical doctors. They weren't helping. She wasn't keeping food down. She wasn't using the restroom, either pooping or peeing. So she was also running a high fever at the time. So all the docs want to do is just give her antibiotics, which she didn't even, they basically had no idea what was going on with her. After a couple of adjustments, we got her using the restroom again, and then she started eating, and she started thriving and growing normally and naturally. So, I love stuff like that, to be able to help people.
I've got one for you too.
Yeah.
My own personal one with him.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the first visits, and he's going to sort of like analyze me or whatever. And I said, okay, yeah, well, I'm not asking you to analyze me. He says, close your eyes. I said, okay, close my eyes. And he said, stand up, and now just march in place for like 30, 60 seconds or whatever. Just close my eyes and march in place. Okay, now open your eyes. And I was turned virtually 3/4 and probably whatever. And it basically, he says, that's because you're out of adjustment. Because, and
first bone in the neck was out.
That's a really good way of seeing it and doing it, because, you're trying to tell your friends to go see a chiropractor and like, nah, I don't need it. And then that's a really great way to get your friends to be convinced.
Yes, but then here's the thing.
Yeah.
So me being the skeptic I am.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I'm sure there's a part 2 that I haven't heard yet.
You've heard this because you So I went, a couple months later I said, Dr. Dan, you did that one thing with the close your eyes and this and that, and I turned this and that. You remember the old story where, if you're in the desert and you walk, you basically, whatever, you sort of like walk in a circle.
Yeah.
And I said, are you sure that that's not what it was? He says, okay, you've been seeing me for a couple months now. Close your eyes. I said, close my eyes. Now march in place. So I marched in place for about 30, 60 seconds in the same place.
Wonderful. So there's people that use x-rays and you use them. I would think that when you started telling me the story, I thought, okay, that's a trust thing. Can you relax with me? Can you feel comfortable? And it was something completely different. So it's really cool.
Well, it's there's different types of chiropractic, and I've seen a different one at one time.
I believe
and I'm not good. Nothing positive or negative. I'm not saying that. But it's one of those where they take your head and all of a sudden, okay, relax. It's like, okay. And this guy was big, and I felt a little too trusting where I could actually have my head on the ground. It's like that's how I just didn't.
You have to feel really comfortable.
I don't feel comfortable in that kind of environment when somebody has that kind of adjustment going.
And I'm very gentle.
See, and I kind of like the aggressive because I want I want to hear the, you know, I want to hear all that because I want to make
know.
sure I'm getting my money's worth. So I don't want to, I want to, you know, it's really cool. I totally
So
believe in
now I finally
chiropractor.
witnessed you rolling your R's.
Yeah.
I saw it on your show. I saw it on the show the other day.
My cat does that, by the way.
It's called purring.
We went from chiropractic to purring. But I was never a person. I always went to the doctors, and I always got my shots and flu shots and, you know, all those kinds of things. And then when I got older, I got into religious reasons. I stopped doing those.
Mm-hmm.
And then my career took me into meeting Dr. Rebecca Gracia. And from just meeting her and then listening to what she had to say, I realized that my water was off. Everyone knows that your nutrition is off. But what you don't realize is an apple that your grandmother ate, you'd have to eat 17 of those apples in order to equal one of your grandmother's apple. So I really like the part where now you get into the health side of it, and you don't go to the doctor for the shots and the flu shots and all that other stuff. And I'm a huge person, and I totally believe in what you're doing because it is all about emotional.
Absolutely.
Women are, oh, look at that. Oh, we got,
Well, let's
that
wave
Forrest?
Forrest in here.
hey,
for
Forrest, come in.
Well,
Hey, everyone.
we've got our audience, Forrest
Come on in,
Ward, joining
Forrest.
us here.
Howdy.
Forrest
So- How
knows
you
doing?
me. He loves me.
Good to see you.
I know he's
Yeah,
so
we're getting ready to
excited.
wrap up our show here in a minute, but
Yeah,
here,
have a
have a
seat.
seat for a minute while we finish up our show.
Sir Christopher.
Yes, there is.
But,
you just go up to the left.
Anyways,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt there, but here's the thing.
Yeah, we have celebrities just randomly coming in all the time, and
So-
it's just amazing.
One, as I said, you're part of our power groups, a part of the Allen Historic, part of Health, Beauty, and Fitness. And so as we grow, we want you to be part of it.
Yes,
So
welcome.
when we have our events, like the trade show, and when we have presentations, you know, that's where we want you to be part of.
Absolutely.
All of those kind of things. And it comes down to networking. Networking is just part of it. As I said, multi-platforms, marketing, and using different tools at your disposal. So
It's having you, you actually personally went and saw him, and people respect you, and they believe in you, and they trust your word. And now that he's been on here, and he's got the seal of approval from me, Breezy Rich, I mean, we're really excited to have you, and welcome to
I
the
don't know.
family.
Yeah, and
Well, thank
I
you.
don't
Glad to
know.
be
I
here.
don't know if you'll be able to cash any money in on that, but
Oh, he will. He will. He's got.
but I want to, you know, we always end our show on one little thing here, and it's called Words to the Wise. And so we're going to start with Breezy Rich, and basically sharing some words to the wise, basically using the content and the topics that we've talked about today. Words to the wise of the listeners that are listening now or that will listen to this later.
Well, especially when you're dealing with the emotional side of things, there's always hope to find the negative and make it into a positive. And where that's going to start is with yourself. So even if somebody is telling you something that's negative and you feel like the world is falling down around you, you really do need to just write yourself a letter that says something that inspires you. There's two types of people in the world. One is you're doing a great job, and that's going to motivate you. And then the other one is you can't do something. Now, I personally am, yeah, you can do it. You're awesome. Whatever motivates you and you feel like you're in this slump of things, what you need to do besides see you, which I totally agree with, is tell yourself every day the things that motivate you the most. And just say those things over and over, because as you tell yourself these things, you're going to believe it, change the negative into a positive, and you'll be an example for other people as well and get them out of that fix.
Excellent.
Of course.
Dr. Dan,
To kind of
words to the wise.
To kind of piggyback on what you were saying, and by the way, that was all wonderful. I love that.
Yes. He loves me.
I do want to address affirmations for a brief second. See, a lot of people want to say positive things to themselves, but the only problem is they have the negative loop running in the background of their mind 24/7. So a lot of times affirmations tend to fail because they have to think about it. It has to be a conscious awareness. Meanwhile, the background tapes keep running that loop. We help you break those background tapes. So that way your affirmations become all that more powerful, because now you're in congruency and you're in alignment with what you really want.
Thank the Lord. That's right.
Excellent. Well,
What you got?
I'm going to basically look at it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, and life. You take your personality, and life is a scale, okay, and the positive and the negative, and it's not. It's taking the negative and putting it on the positive side of the scale. Whatever that is, let's say it's your weight, okay. You're all bummed out, trying to lose weight, trying to do this, trying to do whatever. Okay, it is who you are. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, whatever got you there, that's who you are. So now you take who you are to do that, and you move it over to this scale. So now you start taking the negatives and putting them on the positive side. It's still there, whatever that was. Whether it's, oh, I'm shy. Okay, you moved it. You made some improvements. So identify yourself and know what you want to adjust and train to change. And just so you know, when we had our trade show, we had 20 speakers. You were one of them. Mm-hmm. There was several others. I don't know if you had a chance to see.
I'm really sorry I missed it.
Miguel Martin.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very powerful, very, very energetic guy. And then there was the lady, the attorney. Mm-hmm. There was some very, very solid. And there was Rich Cavanis.
So you were okay without me is what I got. All right.
We didn't have any more room for you. But anyways, for the words to the wise,
yes.
I hope everybody can take what we've said,
mm-hmm.
share this video.
Absolutely.
Have other people come and watch our show. Get in touch with Dr. Dan. If you need anything, just contact him. Contact him and explain your situation. He will listen.
See, a lot of people, what they don't understand is that we're all at the very bottom and we need to get to the top. And how do we get to the top? Is expanding our reach and getting out to those people that are needing. So even if you don't like the topic, share us anyway, because there's somebody out there that needs to hear this.
I say, expanding your reach, it's about expanding your reach. We bring our, Dr. Dan's one of our members. We bring our members as guests on the show.
Right.
And we want to find out what they do to expand their reach to help others in the community. And we found that out today of what you did.
Thank you.
The Lord.
So, with that being said,
I
want to wish everybody a wonderful weekend.
Yes,
and
be safe.
It's going to
Don't drink and drive, and don't go on the show with Drinking for Dummies.
Oh,
unless you get an Uber.
Yeah.
Get an Uber.
Anyways,
giving a shout out to Rob Griffin.
Great to have Breezy sitting in for Christy. Christy, I hope you got your flood taken care of, and we will see you next week. And have a good weekend. Thank you.
Okay. By the way, are we off? No, we're not. We're still going. We're still going because Rick can't hit the button.